All right, welcome back to our session on cohort analysis. In the previous session, or in the previous parts of this lesson, we covered a number of things, including how to prepare your data for cohort analysis, and then how to get your user profile, perform derive your user retention table, as well as the incremental user churn table. Then we also created a section where you can plug in different values and experiment with your data, and then make projections regarding expected revenue given certain apply by, let's say, playing around with figures here, like raising the average tension. How does it translate to increasing your ROI, right? And all. Now, this um, part 3 of this video is dedicated to designing a simple dashboard that would help you to assess um, um, the other part of analysis, right? That is a bit more user friendly and intuitive for you to interact with. So currently, what is displayed here is a PDF version of what the dashboard would look like, right? So we would replicate this in Excel, right? So let's quickly do that. We would To start with, we would need to create a worksheet for that. So we can call this dashboard, dashboard, right? And then the number of things we need to know about this dashboard is that here we have this section called inputs. This is where you plug in your baseline data like marketing acquisition cost, either per user or in broad scale, right? In this case, it's shown as cost per user, marketing acquisition cost per user. You would also know your average and monthly subscription fee, the number of users you have, right? And for the cohort or for the time frame you are interested in, right? Then we have this section which is the output, which gives you the projections like forecast based on the data. We have the total revenue anticipated. Actually, we have revenue per user, we have net revenue, uh, like um, per user, we have the return on investment, right? Then over here we also have a chart showing us what our retention rate looks like, and as it varies with revenue growth, right? So here we have high retention rate in the perhaps in the first month, which falls down. So we made the highest amount here, then it begins to decline, and then finally everything returns back to zero, right? So that is in this case, the assumption for this design, for this very chart, is that for the first month we are starting with a figure around zero, right? So we did not make profit in the first month. So then in the second month it's skyrocketed to the highest value we acquired. But then in the data we have here, that assumption, the data we have here, we are making a different assumption, right? So in this data here, you could see that for the first month, we actually charge our users, right? So we made profit in the first month, right? We also made profit for other months, but they kept falling until they hit zero here after 12 months of being with us, right? So this is the worksheet for the dashboard, and then we have also in the dashboard a table which shows us our user retention table, right? Our user retention table. You can also design it to show you the churn rate, right? What our user churn looks like as the time, that is the number of months that they spend with us varies. that is from this from their month 0 to their month 12, we get to see how many of them we retain, right, over the period. Then here we also see a breakdown of the users. Let's say a breakdown of there is a projected number of users the projected number of users, and then the average retention, then for each month and all and so on. So to do that, we first need to prepare our worksheet, right? Now, um, I want to there's a number of things here. This is more of design because we are done with the analysis to a large extent. So I will need my logo. I will need to also apply these background colors and all that. So let me quickly do that, and then let's see how to do that. So let me select this entire row, entire column, right? And then give it a color it, and give it a shading. And give it this blue, yeah, which is what we have. Then um but in one way it can be safe to use shapes instead of coming to design it, unless in the end if you are going to lock this very worksheet so that it cannot be changed again, right? So we still see how to do that. Now after that, we have the, the logo somewhere placed here, right? So let's insert a kind of placeholder for that. So I can insert a shape to, let's say, circle, draw the circle, and format it so that they are the same size, 0.7, 0.7. Yes. Then I can carefully drag it to somewhere here, right? Then let me now bring in my logo, right? Go to shapes, illustrations, pictures, then bring it from where I saved it on my device, right? Then it's under downloads. Scroll down to where it was saved. Okay, this is it. Okay, so I want to resize it. Okay, then bring it somewhere here, right? Just carefully drag it to the center. Bring it down. Okay, so but now like I mentioned, a number of things that we are doing now are more of design related than data analysis. So but it's still good that you know all these aspects. So I can give this a white background so that there can be that contrast. Yes, this is what I want. So let me ensure that these are well aligned. So I will select two of them, then go to, let's format them together. I can align. Okay, let's let's see if that worked. Okay, then let me group them as well. Group them together so that I can drag them as a single object, as you can see now, right? But then let me also remove, you could see that the border is showing, right? So I want to remove that outline rather. So go to shape format, then shape outline, then no outline. So if I bring it up again, you see that that background, that blue outline is no more there. So go back. Now, carefully bring this down. Now, the other thing we would want to do here is let's give this a name. Let's try to give a title to this workbook, or rather this dashboard. So I'll quickly go to insert. We'll insert a text box, right? Which will give it a title. So this text box, click on that, then come and draw your text box, drag it, just drag it so as much as you want and give it a name. So in our case, we can call this give it a descriptive name. So what name suits our purpose? So I can call it something like um, what, let's say um, user retention and LTV, that is a lifetime value um, forecast, or whatever you may call it, provided it's descriptive enough to tell you what you are trying to achieve. I mean, to tell whomever would use it what it's the purpose. So I would increase the font to, let's say, 20. 20 is fair enough. Bold, and then okay, let's see if we can get a final font. Let me search for Sergio UI. This check this. Okay, okay. Now in this case, if your brand, you need to follow your brand guidelines. So if you have a font, the order that you need to stick to, then you can apply that here as well. So let me quickly format this. I can place it somewhere here and then format it, shape format. I don't want an outline. Okay, I don't want a field, so no field, no outline. So it's just like that. Now we can always turn off these grid lines so that it looks like a normal dashboard, right? But we'll do that later as we still need it for now, right? So I think this is okay. Okay. Then the other thing is we need to bring in, okay, now we have like the basic layout. The remaining parts of the design is now to call your values in, to bring in the values, right? So the first thing we're going to bring in is the let's get our chart first. Let's design this very chart, right? And how do we achieve that? We achieve that by going back to this. Remember, the chart is showing us it's a plot of cohort age versus, that's the retention rate versus cohort age. Then we have the secondary axis showing the revenue growth. So we go to the data source, right? And we have our cohorts user retention. This shows us the, okay, from here to here, this shows us the cohort age, right? This shows us the cohort age. Then we have average user, There's cohort age and then average user retention. That is the average, right? Which is this one, right? So we want to plot a chart of this versus this. So how do I do that? I can quickly go to insert, then chart. I have different chart options, but in our case we're using an area chart, right? So you can click on recommended charts if you don't see the option you're looking for. Go to all charts, then we have area here. So this is the chart we would want to use. So we can click on this and then okay. Now we connect our data. Currently it's showing us dummy values, right? It's just showing us the um, it's not well formatted for us, so it's just guessed. So I can edit that, and then I can edit the series. Let me remove the series it added for me. I want to add it myself, right? So I can add, what's the series name? The series name is what? Average retention percent, right? Then this is now to enter the value of the series. Series is the actual, the numerical, the part that will form the numerical this. So here I can now select from 100. I can now select till the last cell here, right? Then I will click enter. So that brings up this value, populates it here for me. I click OK. Now for the horizontal part, that's the categorical axis, it was able to guess correctly. Okay, from 1 to 13, no, I want it to start from 0, right? Since my cohort age is 0, so I can edit that, and it asks me the exit label range. So I'll click on this to select that, which is from here down to 12, right? Click enter once again. Okay, so I'll click OK, and then this is the um, chart. This is how the chart should look like. But here you see that we still have another chart here, which is a line chart here laid on top of the other, of the first one. So how do we do that? We can do that by coming to the chart area. If I click on the chart itself, it selects the chart area, this line, this area here that contains the actual polygon, which is this area chart, right? So I can, once I click on that, I can right click, right? Once I right click, I can choose select data, right? Then upon selecting data, I will now come to series again to add. I want to add another series. So I'll click on add series, give it a name. Let's call it revenue growth. Revenue growth is in dollar. Yeah. Then here is the series value, right? I'll remove this. Select the series value. Where is the place that contains the revenue growth? It's somewhere down here. It's somewhere around here. Yes. So I can select this. Okay. Yes, I make sure I've selected it correctly. Click and enter. Okay. So we now have this second once again we have to edit this one since it should start from 0 instead. So I can go back and select that again. Okay, click OK. But it's not showing yet. It's showing, but it's showing as just very similar to this. So you can see that there are like two charts here. So how can I edit that? I want to show the other one as a line chart instead. So to do that, um, we can set this one as secondary. Okay, let's say secondary. Oh, not really. Okay, let's see. Okay, click on change series chart type. Then we want to set one as secondary axis. I mean, as a secondary axis, which is the profit, the revenue growth. Set it as a secondary. Then you can now select another chart type instead of area chart type. You can select maybe a start line chart. Okay, so you can see how the revenue mirrors the retention. So this shows it. This second chart is not really offering much insight to us because it's just similar to the line chart, but we can still use it. So okay, now we now have this. Then a little brush up we can do here is to maybe to quickly format it. We can change the position of this legend. Click here to edit that, then click here to expand. Then I want it to be at the top, as you can see now. Then I need to also give it a title, chart title, right? Okay, so what was it called here? I called it retention rate and okay, retention rate. Okay, so I would call it retention rate and revenue growth. Retention rate and revenue growth versus cohort age, right? That's a pretty long, but it's fine. Then let me turn off these grid lines, the horizontal. We have the horizontal grid lines. So click here. We'll see grid line here. Then come and click on this arrow. We have the option to turn this primary major off, right? But we can still add primary minor, which is this one you're currently seeing. If you look closely, you can see that we now have, if I click on this, if I hover over this, there's a final grid line that shows. If I take it out, it goes, right? So let's return that. I think there's no hard binding rule here. It's the design and your ability to design here that matters, right? So we have this now, and then it looks a little similar to what we have here, right? So now we want to also give the axis label, that's the horizontal and the vertical. So I'll click on the chart, click on this plus icon, now see axis title. Click here to expand to choose the ones you want. So we have the primary horizontal, primary, vertical, right? Then you now edit them. Click here to take that out. Then axis, the primary vertical here, you can title it as retention rate, right? Then this one would now be cohort age, cohort age. Then close this. So we now have it like this, right? So our chart is ready. You can quickly either you copy or you cut. And I think I would have to cut it since I don't want it to show here. I want it to show on the dashboard instead. So I paste it here. So this is my chart, right? And then it will be somewhere here. Now, the other thing I want to do is I want to bring this table, this very one here. I want to bring this user retention table in case someone is interested in seeing the figures. Remember that the chart here is showing only the average, like the overall average. So someone might be interested in seeing the specific values for each cohort, right? Specific value for each cohort. One way we can do this is by plotting, let's say, scatter plots for each of these customers, for each of these cohorts, and then but then we have about 12 data points. It might result in overplotting. So I'll quickly demonstrate that just for illustration purposes. So to do that, let me insert a chart. Area chart will not be the best option here as we have many data points to plot. So the as minimalistic as possible. So I can choose line chart. Then let's choose this one that does not have a marker. Then okay. So it's Excel is smart enough to select this range for me, right? Okay. So this could have been okay. So let me zoom in. Right, we have everything looking pretty the same. I think across our different cohorts, the user retention and all is almost the same. But let me see if the range were selected correctly. So I can edit this. Let me go to select data. This is series 1 up to series 13. Okay. So what we can do here, remember I mentioned this chart is just for illustration purpose, and it's not even offering us as much insight as we want. So we can choose to remove all, or before we plotted the chart, we could have just maybe selected the data before we plotted the chart. So I'll quickly delete this one. Let me quickly delete this and then select the data myself and plot. Line chart. Wow, this is overwhelming. It might be very difficult to understand what is going on here, right? So let me edit this and then assign them, select data. Yeah, the range is yeah, this is correct because I want it to be for cohort, like for each of the cohorts, right? So the first one is representing cohort 1 and so on and so forth. So there's nothing to change here except that this last one, which is 13, which is like the average. Okay, let's see if it would help us in any way, make any sense. This um, okay, the percentage. Okay, okay. But as I mentioned initially, this is resulting in overplotting. So I would advise that we can still stick to the first one we have already plotted here, which shows the average, right? Which shows the average. So um, I did this just to demonstrate, to reemphasize that. So then the other thing we would want to do is I want to bring this table. So here, call this table and place it here. So one way to do it, you can do that by using a formula, right? You can do that by using a formula, and then the formula is just type, come, you can come somewhere and type equal to, then go to where the data is, and then you can select the range of your data. So you see it showing here, right? But we lost the formatting as expected, and the reason is because formatting does not really affect the underlying data. I think we've emphasized this in many other, in our previous sessions, right? So let me quickly format this one. Mm, okay, let me go back and see if there's something we can omit here. Okay, I think everything is okay. We don't necessarily need this line, or I can just quickly brush this up so that it shows fine in the other dashboard, so I can user retention. Okay, so I don't need this. Let me bring this one here instead, right? So let me, so the reason I'm doing this is because I want the resulting dashboard to show nicely as much as possible. So the changes I made there have been reflected here, but I need to edit this. I need to edit this formula here, right? So let me be sure that everything is working fine. Go back to the data source. I'm sorry, go back to the cohort analysis worksheet. Yeah, which is this one. Okay. Or or to be safe, since since this is just giving me a constant, what's the best thing to do now? I'm thinking of the best thing to do now, which could be, okay, I want to omit as many columns as possible here. So let me start by formatting though and see if it will come out nicely. So let me start by formatting this. Start by changing the number of decimal places. Bring it to how many now? This is 2. No, 1 would be 2 meeting. Yes, 2 is fine. Then I can format it as a percentage. Oh, wow. Really? No? Let's go back. Having another column here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Okay. I think I need to change something. Let me edit this formula. Let me reselect my range, as I don't need everything here. So equal to, go back here. So I can quickly select this only, the one that contains the data only, so that the rest of the formatting will now Yes, I think that reduced the size of my table. And then, although I still have a vacant um, column here, I mean, the formatting is still something we can improve on. No, control Z. Okay, I don't. This is not what I want. I can select this one, and then this should not be percentage. Go back. Can you place it as text? Let's see. Yeah, it's fine. Then we can align it to the left. Yes. So that shows us the cohort month. Then this part is showing us each of the individual cohorts we have. We can create a cell to show that kind of a column. I wish I can. Or a tricky way to do this to actually achieve the same purpose, right? Is I don't want this extra space here. I don't want this. There's a lot of space here. Although I can change that from here, though. I can change that from here. Grab this. That did not change. Okay. Yeah. I think that reduced it. Let's reduce this to yes. Okay. So now we can select the entire range, perhaps, and then try as much as possible to reduce the space. Okay. So we readjust this. Then, of course, we can move this a little down. But then, to make this come out nice, we need to reformat this as well. As it's shown, as you can see here, we need to give the average, right? The total, we need to give it a border. Then we need to give it a shading, and then the column, the name, the heading here, we need to also format that. So I'll quickly come here. So go and give it yes, then change the font to yes, then bold, right? Yes, then this one too, select this one. Since that shows us the cohort is okay, I'll select this one and this one together, and I'll quickly show why I did that. Then give it a kind of a lighter, not this something like this. Yes, this is fine. Then I can give this as title name, which is a cohort age. Right. So we now have, make it bold. Select these and make them bold to differentiate. So to be specific, cohort months, cohort age in months. Right. So we have it like this now. And then the other thing sorry, we could do here, expand this. Then if our chart is taking up so much space, we can adjust it as well, as you can see here. Right. Then come again. So we now have our charts and table there. So we can now bring these other items, starting with the input. Then we have the output box as well. So I can do that by coming here. Let's go back a bit. Okay, we have a small space here between this and then this, and then the, so I'll give a cell, a space of a cell here. Let me turn on my grid lines to show that. So there's a space between this one with blue background, and then where I'm going to plug in my data, right, where that says input. So I'll jump a cell and call this input, highlight and make it bold. Then what are those things I need to enter as a user? I have the number of users, monthly subscription fee, and then marketing acquisition cost per user. So I will paste those here. Okay, paste number of users, you're expecting to get. Then um number of users, monthly subscription fee, marketing acquisition cost, monthly subscription fee, then marketing or acquisition cost, or let me reduce this to just subscription fee. Then that's the average subscription fee. Then to give this more space, I can join and merge across. So I selected the columns, and then I would now merge across. Let me select the four of them, merge across, go to home. You will see merge and center here. Click the angle icon, then merge across. So what we did here is now that we now have each item taking the space of two cells. Unlike, for instance, we have this one here as one cell, but then this one is taking up the size of two cells of this and then this put together. So that was what we did. Then having done that, we would now move on to the next part, which is this is where the users will now type in the actual numbers, the actual figures, right, such as their number of just such as the um, number of users they expect, the monthly subscription fee, and then the marketing acquisition cost, right? So we have to create another space for that, and then to do that. So it means we have to make these 3 columns instead of 1 that it currently is. So let me go back again and merge and center. Merge across once again. Yeah. So we now have that. Then we now have this for the actual input values. Right. That goes in line with what we have here. So we merge it and then across. Then we left a line. Okay, I'll show that very quickly. Not now. So in addition to merging across, we want to give it this background color that's like brown, right? So let me give it a brown background color. Yes, which is this. Although the first one would have its own background color. That's this one, the one for input. So I'll edit that one, select it, then background color, change it to should be similar to this one. I guess I still remember the color. Not exactly. Okay. Just playing around to pick the value, the color I picked before. I think, yeah, I think it's this one. Yeah, I'm right. Okay. Although it's a bit different from the one we have in the dashboard, so we can still change that though. Unless if you want it to look exactly as the one on the reference dashboard. So let me quickly do that. And I think that one is it's that color. Okay. This, yeah, this one or something similar. Then this one, change that as well. Yeah. So we have this. Now I'll take this up, take this up. Then let me experiment something and see if we can achieve down to do. So I have a shape here. Let me see if I can bring the value to a shape. So I drag my box here and type equal to. Okay, let me turn on my formula bar. Where is the view? Include formula bar. Right, so I'll select this and start typing equal to. Let's see if I can call that table, this table, directly into that box. So just a quick one. No, that did not work. Okay, well, at least we know what will not work. So we have this now. We have this for the input column. Let me quickly copy this and paste for output. So I'll give a space of about 1 cell. Should be here. Paste this. I'll rename this as output. Output. Then the output values I'm looking at are total revenue, revenue per user, net revenue, ROI. Total revenue, revenue per user, um, total revenue, revenue per user, net revenue ROI, net revenue, then ROI. Okay, so for ROI, I would copy the same style here, same format here. Okay, copy, format, enter, then it may not come on. Yes, that worked very fine. So when I turn off this grid lines, you would see it come out as a shape, as a dashboard, right? Now we have this. What is left now is the actual we have not yet. Okay, let me quickly format this one, make it bold, make this one bold as well. So not go back. So now what is the other thing left? The other thing left is now this table, right? This table shows the month number, average retention, and projected users, right? That's on average. And that value, we can find that value here. Month number, average retention, and projected users. We can find that value here if you go to your main cohort analysis worksheet. We can find that value somewhere. Where was that? Month number, go back again. Month number, average retention, projected users. Okay, how did I come about that? 100%, 10. What now I came about this? Okay, let's play around with other aspects first. We'll get back to this. I think I've forgotten how I came about this. The exact fit I was supposed to call in there. So what we want to do now is that in place of this one, whereby we have um this just looking plain like this, and then a bit overwhelming. Okay, yes, what I was looking for, that's the field I was looking for is actually this three: month number, average retention, and then number of users, right? These are the three fields I was looking for, right? So those are what I want to call here. Those are what I want to call here, but this time around they will now be transposed, right? So how do I achieve that? For month number, I can use formulas equal to, okay, let me just label it, give it a title. It is okay, month number, average retention, and projected users. Give a space here, control B. Month number, average retention, and then projected number of users. Okay, so make this bold, then give it space it. Yes, come on, here we go. Okay, so I'll drag this back, and then this one that is just a space between, you can use it as padding. So I'll have space for the main chart, so I'll still do this one. Gently bring this one back, then yes, don't need to scroll too far again. Now we have, let me do let me now call the values. So this is equal to transpose. What transposing does for us is that it reshapes our data such that those appearing in let's say I have values arranged in this form 2, 3, 4, 5, and I want it to appear like this 2, 3, 4, 5. Instead, maybe I want it to appear like this, one on top of the other, but before they were placed side by side. If I transpose this, it would give me this, as I would do very quickly. So I will now do equals transpose, then select the range of data I want to transpose. Right, as you can see, that returned it in reshaped form. So that is what we're going to leverage to bring those data in here. So I'll type equal transpose, then select the range. So I'll come here, click on this, then the first one there is what? Month number or cohort month. So which is this one? So I'll select the data, the range. Okay, so we have 0 to 12. Then the other one is average retention equals transpose average retention. Go back here. This is the average retention. This row 58. So I'll select that. So see it here. Then projected number of users equals transpose. Go back and then users, right? Which is this, right? Okay. So now this is too much. Okay. So now the next thing to do now is I think I'll just quickly brush this up. This is too much of a space. Okay, I'll go back and then unmerge cells. So I'll return them as their separate cells before, and perhaps cut this contours. Then okay, this was not selected. Let me select these ones and unmerge cells. Yeah, so we now have not so much space for that one alone. So I can bring this one here, cut, paste, Control V. Yeah, ignore the warning. It is still too much of a space. I think I can delete this one now. I can copy this format and apply it here to take that out. Yes. And copy this Okay, do the same thing here on merge cells. Then copy these two, cut Control X rather, and paste, and copy this unstyled cell and then apply the formats to this one. So we'll now have them align with this one. We'll have an extra space here. We'll handle that. But now we have more space to bring this one to where we want it to be. Now let's finish up with this one. Right. So the other thing we have here is you could see here that this one is color coded, right? So that the thicker the blue color, the more the value it represents. So 0 is white because it means it's been exhausted, like no value to represent. The reason for this is we want to know at what point the highest retention occurred. So which obviously is in the first few months. So this is the very first month we had everything. Second month followed, there was a drop. Third month there was not much drop from the previous one, and then it continues in that same way until the last month everyone all of them had dropped off. So we want to format this thing very quickly. First of all, we want to align this to the left. Currently it's aligned to the right. Yeah, this is aligned to the right, so let's align it to the left. Select the range, then okay, yeah, I think that's the first one. So, or is it both? Okay, all are aligned to the left. Select all, then go here and then select this. That aligns them to the left. Then the other thing we want to do in formatting it is we can assign the decimal place, right? You can assign the decimal place to it. This one is showing in decimal. We can choose to either do it in decimal or in percentage. So I think percentage is better as it will make it easier for us to read. So go here, apply percentage here. If you don't see it, you can always click here and then select percentage. So I'll go back a step. Then how many decimal places do you want it to show? Want it to show in about one decimal place is fair. Yes. Then this one is the absolute value, that is the number of customers, number of users we expect to get. So I would now apply um, same conditional formatting we applied that gave us this kind of shade, right? So that we'll know at what point the drop occurred the most. So I'll select this range, go to home, conditional formatting, go to color scale, then let me choose here so I can customize it. The lowest value, I want the lowest value to be white. Then I want the highest value, maximum value to be this blue. Okay. It's white. Okay. Yeah. So we have what? Something similar to this. Something similar to this, right? Then go back. So our dashboard is coming to shape gradually, and then but what we have not done now is this place is still useless. If I enter a value, nothing, it will not give me anything. So we want to make it connect it such that some when I enter a value here, I see result here, right? When I enter a value here, I see result here. Now, how do I achieve that? First of all, the user should be able to enter the number of users they want. second, the subscription fee, third, the acquisition cost. Now, to keep this safe, let's see how to do the connection first. How to um, do the connection first. Now, this is a field where the user can type a value. Let's say 543, number of users. Subscription fee, let's say 456. But in this case, the example we used here, if you are following the same lesson, I think we need to follow that. So here we know that the first field that we enter the value here, that was in the previous part of this lesson. The user was able to enter this value 300, right? Based on the number of users acquired after a marketing cost of a marketing budget a spend that costed about 15,000 to now get 300 users. Yes, yeah, right. So the user should have this data handy, right? As these are the baseline data the user should have access to. So marketing acquisition cost, number of users, and monthly subscription fee, monthly fee. So we want to, instead of coming to type this thing directly here, we want to make it possible that one can type this value here, right? Then we now use it to perform the calculation we are performing here, which is to now estimate the revenue, um, total revenue, revenue per user, and ROI here. Then the resulting table would come and update here. So let's do that quickly. So instead of typing this thing directly, I can connect it to this very dashboard here. So let's do that. So I will now say number of users is equal to, then select the field in the dashboard where I want it to pick the value from. This is number of users field. I click enter. So you could see it has updated to 543 instead of 300, right? And then you could see everything dynamically changing. So the other thing is monthly fee equal to, do the same, select this, then revenue. Of course, revenue is something we would infer from the data we have here. So the other thing is a marketing acquisition cost, and then this is part of input. So I think it should just go up here to join the rest. Okay, we'll create a new. Start. So revenue, sorry, marketing acquisition cost. Let me cut this cell and paste it here. Then bring this one here. Cut this, paste here. Right. Okay, so okay, still works. So now this one, this field, this one, and then this one, where is that? This user's monthly fee and the marketing acquisition cost are the baseline data that one is expected to have, right? So now I have them entered here directly. So for this one, I have not done for marketing acquisition cost. So this is going to be, marketing acquisition cost is going to be this is equal to, this is where the user would enter the value, right? Currently it's showing 0 because there's no value there. Now the returned value, let me just put 547 so it will not show error here. That resolved the error. So the next value, the next thing is now the returned value, which are calculations like total revenue, revenue per user, and the rest, and then ROI, right? And we don't have net revenue here. We have, let's create field for net revenue. Right, so I think that should come after the ROI. Or doesn't change anything. You can just leave it to keep things simple. So now to do that, we already know that somehow this value will be fed into this place to now perform this calculation. So this time around, we are now getting the output from our basic model here, right? We are now getting this output. The output that we here will be gotten from this place, from this very worksheet. So there is a kind of a crisscross here. Input from the user, output from the dashboard. So here I would say total revenue equals, let me now go and pick total revenue. This is the field for total revenue. You can see now revenue per user equals, go here, revenue per user, enter. Then net revenue, we've not done the calculation for that. Okay, let's just pick it for now. Net revenue is equal to, this is where it should be, nothing there for now. Then ROI is equal to ROI here. So this is it. We now have the input and then the output, right? So if as a user I enter a value of 750 here, you would see that everything is going to update, including this one here, right? This one, and then the only one that would not change is this, perhaps. So let me now increase the subscription fee to 600. My ROI is updating, everything is dynamic at this point. So the only thing we've not done is the formula for net revenue. So let's do that. Net revenue equal to I guess revenue, total revenue minus acquisition cost, which is this. This is, okay, sorry, this is total revenue minus cost of acquisition, right? So back here we now have a value for it. So now we have a dynamic, but then the remaining part of this lesson is now for brushing up the canvas so that it can come out nicely. And then to do that, we would let me quickly expand this part, then quickly select this and see if I can change some things here, like extend this one down here. Okay, at least it's big now, bigger than before, but that pushes our table down further, which is not what I want. So I want this one to come up here. Let me reduce this one. Okay, so can bring this here. Let's make sure. Okay, take this to somewhere here, right? The only thing that will now happen is that I would need to redo this part. So this is not intuitive. Okay, let me see if I can copy it. Control X, then paste it here. Paste it here. Okay, so I have it now. Then again to resize this one so that they can align here, right? So okay, with this we can see that we've made a significant progress. So let me quickly style this part. I mean the one here, copy the format here and paste here to represent a header, right? Then I would also adjust. Okay, this might be issues. So better leave that out. Select this and see if I can adjust it just very slightly. That's too much. Okay, all right. I think this is fair enough. Now we can always turn off a number of things here to have more space on our screen. Like the heading here, I can turn it off. The formula bar, I can turn it off. The result is that I have a wider space for my dashboard, right? At least I don't need to scroll so much again to see everything. Or you can also reduce the zoom here to like 90 plus. Okay, so now I would restore the header here, the heading here until I'm done with my formatting. So I can shift this one since there are more space. I shift that, then bring this one to the center as my logo. Now this logo, I want this logo to do something for me instead of just being here idle, right? I want that the user can, this logo, we can use this logo as a refresh button, right? We covered recording macros in Excel in the previous session. I mean, in sessions that preceded this one. So I want us to apply that here. Okay, just just a little bit of brushing it up. Sorry, this one actually wants. Okay, let's see. Let me take it back. Okay, so this is just like playing around to brush up everything. So we have this now. So like I say, as I was saying, we can make this a refresh button such that when I click on it, the entire dashboard refreshes, right? How cool is that? So let's see how to do that. To do that, we're going to record a macro, but then bold, bold. Okay, so before that, something very important we need to do. We need to, let's apply a form of data validation here so that our dashboard does not crash. Imagine someone comes and type a letter here instead of a number. You see that everything is screwed up, right? And this is very easy. You can see even here everything is messed up, right? So how can we avoid that? We can use data validation, right? We can use data validation to achieve that. And then data validation helps us to set strict rules such that only certain values can be accepted in a particular field. So I have selected the range. Then here I will now go to data. Under data tab, I go to data. Then under data tools is where you see data validation. So I'll click on data validation. Then there are a number of settings we need to do. So we have the settings, we have input message, and then the error alert. So here I don't want, currently it's accepting any value. That is why when I entered a letter, it accepted it and then it could not handle that error that crashed the dashboard. So I'll come here, click on this value and change it to number. It could be decimal or whole number, but it's safer to put decimal here since we can have digits. Sorry, we're entering number of users. We can't have half user, right? So it has to be a whole number. So uh, then ignore blank. No, we don't want to ignore blank. Then data between, there's no range for that. Minimum and maximum. Okay, minimum of 1. Let's say minimum of 1. There should be no maximum. Then the next thing is input message. You must enter both the maximum and minimum. Alright, so I think I'll just better leave it. Oh, come on. Okay, sorry, I accidentally selected this between. I don't need between anything. Come on. Okay, and check this. Got the cross. Not between. Okay, I think I ought to start over. Maybe I messed up something. Go back again. Go here, data validation, not any value. It must be whole number. Sorry, whole number would only apply to this cell, which is number of users, right? So I'll pick them one by one after the other. I'll pick for this one, number of users, go to data, then select this data validation, pick whole number. Okay, let's say whole number. I think this is the required field. Okay, since this is the required field, it can be whole number from 1 to maximum 1 billion. Can we have 1 billion users? Just a number that is not possible to get. So now I now go to input message. What will it tell the user? Show input message when cell is selected. Okay, yes. Let's say um okay, let's say uh the message is enter number of total number of acquired users. Then here is the error alert. What is the alert the user gets? Right, the error alert here, it says you can say invalid input, invalid input, or okay, sorry, I don't want to give it a title. You can call it the error message will now be number of users must be positive whole numbers, or only positive whole numbers are allowed, right? So let's test this out. Okay, so when I select this field, it tells me enter total number of acquired users. Let's try again and enter our letter. It gives me the error, only positive whole numbers are allowed. So I'll retry and then enter 700. Okay, now let's say, let me enter an alphabet, I mean a decimal, 7.9. It gives me error. Since we don't have a 7.9, half human. So 700 back again. Now the next is subscription fee. This one, the field, subscription fee and acquisition cost can take on decimals, right? So I can select the two of them together and then format them together. So come here, data validation, This time around, I can select decimal, right? I can select decimal here. Then it can be a decimal between at least between 0. Yeah, it's possible to have zero. Yeah, you can have zero subscription fee. You can have acquisition cost of 0. It's possible. Let's say we are offering a kind of a promo or whatever. But then you have to be careful that this really applies to you. Maximum value, acquisition cost, subscription fee. How much could that be? You know a number that makes sense to you in your case. Let's say 5, or let's say 50,000 or 5 million. So you know what makes sense to you. So I'll click on the input message is input message will now be um okay, well, since I selected the two of them together, it might be hard for me to make, so it's safer to let me just do them one after the other. I think I'm just being lazy. Let me do them one after the other so that I can be as detailed as possible. Select that very quickly. Decimal between 0 and 500,000. This is a 500,000, right? Then input message will now be monthly average. What is the average monthly subscription fee? In what is the average monthly subscription fee? Right? Input error means the error would now be, you can warn them or give them more information or stop. In our case, we want to stop. So you cannot proceed until you enter this value. I mean the correct value, as it is a required field. So the next thing you will now do, subscription fee, maybe um, invalid input, which is a little bit generic, but can still. So I can enter X. Let's enter T now. It tells me invalid input. So I'll now enter 654. So the last one here is I'll still format it. This is how I would format the other fields, including the one for the output field, right? So here I would enter um, acquisition cost can be decimal, then data between, you know how much, but then minimum of 0, maximum of 3 million, depending on you. That is up to you to answer. Input, but make sure you put a value that will not limit you. If you are a big business that you know you spend millions in ad spend, then you have to put a value very high here. So just increment it by one more zero. So we now have this is about $3 million in marketing. Wow, that's a lot. So here now we now enter the value here, which is total cost to acquire these users. Click, then error alert, invalid input must be a number between zero, let's say between 0 and 3 million. Yeah, so okay, so if I enter a number minus 3 now, minus 5, it gives me this error. So acquisition cost will now be, let's say, 350 or 3,500 or so. Now we do that here as well. Total revenue. No, we don't need to do that here since this is our output field. Actually, this is our output field. But then we want to also protect this field so that one does not accidentally enter a value here. For instance, I can come here and type a value and mess up everything, right? So how do I protect this from happening so that the user can only see this output as read only, right? But not be able to modify it themselves either accidentally or otherwise. So I would select this. Let me select this range. Select this range because I don't want them to be able to also edit this one as well. So I can select this range and then right click here, format. Want to protect it. Go to protection. Then it's already checked by default, which is locked, right? If it is not locked, make sure this is checked to show that it is locked. But then even after locking it, it's still not effective. I can still edit it because I have not implemented that. I have not effected that. So to effect that, I will now go to review, right? I'll go to review. But then since I also want to do it for this part, let me quickly do this part as well so that we can now um, finally let them do that together. So format this, it is also selected. Okay, then this one as well, we don't want the user to also be able to change anything here in the table as the table is being pulled from the other worksheet, right? The goal is to protect the integrity of this dashboard and to make it as robust as possible so that either by accident or whichever means one will not be able to mess up with our efforts, right? So right click again, format cells, it is already selected as locked. Okay, then what are the other ones we want to format? I think basically these three, this one and then this one. So let's effect the changes, the formatting we already applied to it, right? So to do that, I can now go to review, then protect sheet, then go to here where is it's already selected. Select locked cells and all that, right? One will not be able to format cells, format column, format rows, blah blah blah, and all that, right? So I can whatever I want to do now, I can click OK. Now you see that if I come here to change this value here, it gives me a warning that this cell or chart you are trying to change is on a protected sheet. To make a change on protect the sheet, you might request to enter a password. We did not set password, but it's also possible. So I'll go back. But then it affected this one too, right? So the best thing to do, the means it locked everything. So we would have to redo that review. Okay, let's unprotect it. And then let's confirm that this is still um, the formatting that we applied is still intact. Okay, it's still there. So now let's go back to review, protect sheet. Let's uncheck. Okay, one should be able to edit. No, one should not be able to format cell or column or row or insert or do any other thing like hyperlink, delete row, delete column. No, no, no. Use auto filter, use pivots and edit objects, edit scenarios. Not really. Okay, let's see. select locked cells. Let's see if unchecking this would solve the problem. Protect worksheet and contents of locked cell. Let's see. Okay, what about this? Come on, I think we are missing it. Okay, I think we need to play around with this until we get what we want. So let me be sure that this is not locked. Format cells. So this is locked. I can unlock this. Oh, sorry. The part I would want to lock. The part I would want to lock is just what exactly? I don't want to lock this part, right? I just want to lock this part. So I can now lock here up to this point, right? Then go back to format, unlock it. Oh, sorry, lock. For this part, up to this part, this part should be unlocked as I would want then the user to be able to enter the value there. Then so I can go back here, format cell. This is unlocked to be unlocked, right? Then I guess this one too should not be locked. Should be locked up to this point. Should be locked. Yeah, locked. Then this one too, I would do that. Yeah, locked. Everything here basically should be locked because this is the output. Yeah. Okay, still locked. So let's confirm if we can apply the formatting, the protecting of sheet. Let's go back to review, protect sheet, right? Okay, we can select. So if we want to set a password, we can do it here. But we don't want to do that now. So let's go to this one that is expected not to be locked. Yeah, you could see that I can change this one. But then if I come here, I can't do that since this one is protected. And then this one here as well. So now our dashboard is designed and protected, right? The only thing we've not done yet is the macro that we wanted to record. So let me this, turn off this, right? So then we have a working dashboard. I can increase this to 100 and or somewhat around, let's see, yeah, let's say 95. Okay. All right, so I think our dashboard is now in shape. So having done that, we can now move on to the next. At least we've seen how to lock our dashboard. Then basically this locking of a thing is what you should do at the end of everything, so that like now that we want to record macro and the rest, there might be need to unlock and then relock, right? Okay. So now let me record a macro. And then what does recording a macro do for you? And I think this will be the last part of this lesson. To record a macro, you would take certain steps, right, and record those steps, save it, and then you can even bind it to. So I want to do it straightforward. But let me go to record macro. You need to ensure that the developer tab is enabled, right? We did that in the previous class. So to do that, you just have to come here, go to file, and you can go to more, or if you see options here, you can go to that here, options, then it opens up. Then under the quick access and customize ribbon, you can see developer, right? In my case, it's enabled already, but if it's not enabled, just make sure this is checked, right? Make sure this is checked, then click OK. Then it appears here. So let's record a macro, and to do that, I would make sure I know the exact step it takes me to achieve what I want to achieve, so that I don't get something so un- unhelpful for me. Now, what I want to do is I want to be able to refresh this data whenever I click on this, right? So for instance, to refresh the data, I can come here and then click on this refresh all or whatever, right? But I don't want to do this all the time. If I click here, I can now refresh this, right? So I want that whenever the user comes, the thing is already, oh, I mean, I don't need to click these extra steps of coming here, click here, click here and choose the option I want to select. No, I want to do it automatically. So I'm now ready to take my steps, right? So I would first go to developer, then go to record macro. Now I give it a name, refresh my dashboard, and then make sure there's no space between the names. You can even give it a keyboard shortcut, but then in our case, we want to bind it to this logo instead. So I click OK. Okay, let me give it a description. This macro refreshes the dashboard when a user clicks on the logo on the left hand side of the dashboard. So I click on OK. Now I've clicked on OK. Whatever step I take now is recorded, right? So I take the first step, which is go to data, click it, it expands. Click refresh here, then make sure I select this refresh all. Now it has refreshed, and then the macro has recorded. So I'll go back and stop macro from recording. So I'll now stop recording. Now when I go to macros here, I would see that macro I just recorded, which is a refresh my dashboard, right? So with that, I can even still come back here and edit this or bind it to a keyboard, but I don't want to make any changes now. Now I want to bind it to this, so I'll click here to select this. If it's possible to select, okay, I protected the worksheet, so it might not be possible to select again. So I'll have to unprotect it for now. So click on this, right click, you see the option to assign macro, right? I'll choose that, then I would assign it to this macro, right? And I'll click OK. Now see what happens next time I come to this dashboard. If I click on it, just watch what will happen here. Although this dashboard may not require so much, it's a light one, so it may not be noticeable that it's actually refreshing. So but watch as I take my cursor towards it, it changes to a finger pointer, right? So I'll click on it and it refreshes, right? Click on it, refreshes, click on it, refreshes. So that is the goal of making it a dynamic dashboard, right? Then the last thing we want to do now is to finally protect our dashboard that we created. And doing this is very important so that you make sure that the next time you come back, you meet it the way it is, right? So it's important to go back here, review, protect, then okay. So everything is still intact, but then this part, yeah, these parts are protected. So stretch here. Okay, so with this, we've come to the end of this I believe should be insightful tutorial or lesson on using Excel and performing cohort analysis, designing dashboard, and of course recording macros with Excel. It's been an amazing um, journey with you all, and I am happy that you are part of this experience. So once again, my name is Kenneth, and see you some other times. Consider to follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn. Analytics Hive is the name of the brand. You'll find us on any of these platforms, and then consider to subscribe too. Thank you for joining, and have a wonderful day.